Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful souls, I want you to breathe in with me for a moment and exhale. Now I want you to know you are not stuck. You are not broken, and you are not too late. Let's talk about change, not someday, not one day. I'm talking about change in 7 days. Not because everything will be perfect in a week, but because in 7 days you can ignite a shift so powerful that your life will never be the same. Day 1 awareness is the beginning of change. You can't change what you're not willing to confront. Self-awareness unlocks transformation. You know, one of the greatest myths we've bought into is that change begins when we do something drastic. But the truth, change begins when we become aware deeply, honestly, sometimes painfully aware, of who we are and where we are. Not where we want to be, not where we pretend to be for others, but where we truly are. Awareness is not passive. It's not soft. It is, in fact, one of the most courageous acts of a conscious human being. Because it means you're willing to stop hiding behind distractions, excuses, or old narratives, and instead face the mirror without flinching. From a psychological standpoint, self-awareness disrupts autopilot. It intercepts those unconscious habits, those well-worn grooves of thought and behavior that we repeat not because they serve us, but because they're familiar. Philosophically, it's the moment your observer self awakens the part of you that watches, questions, interrupts. And in that space between observing and reacting, there is the birth of choice. Without awareness, there can be no meaningful change. We can work harder, set goals, read books, but if we don't know what's driving us beneath the surface, we end up changing the symptoms, not the system. So today, I challenge you, pause long enough to pay attention. Your patterns are telling you a story, and if you're brave enough to listen, that story can be rewritten. The beginning of change is not action, it's awakening. Wake up. Day 2, intention sets direction. Once you've awakened to the truth of where you are, the next step is deciding where you intend to go. And I'm not talking about vague wishes or surface-level goals. I mean clear, conscious, soul-aligned intention. Intention is not the same as desire. Desire is reactive. It often emerges from lack. Intention, however, is proactive. It's a deliberate act of direction, a statement to both yourself and the world about what you're moving toward. Neuroscience shows us that the brain responds to clarity with focus. When we're vague, we scatter our energy. But when we get precise, when we say, "This is who I'm becoming and this is why," the mind begins organizing itself around that truth. The subconscious, which governs so much of our behavior, starts filtering decisions and perceptions through that intention. And philosophically, intention is about alignment. It asks, are your thoughts, your values, and your actions moving in the same direction? Because real change doesn't happen when you merely want something. It happens when your inner compass is calibrated, when your energy is coherent, and your commitment is non-negotiable. So ask yourself, what am I truly intending with my life this week? What energy am I bringing to the table? Because without intention, even the most powerful awareness will eventually drift. You become what you consistently move toward. And intention is the first, quiet declaration of that becoming. Speak it clearly, speak it boldly, then let every step you take answer it. Day 3, discipline over motivation. Discipline is the bridge between thought and transformation. Keep showing up even when it's hard. Now, here's where most people stumble after becoming aware and setting a clear intention. They wait for motivation to carry them. But motivation is unreliable. It's emotional. It rises and falls based on circumstance, mood, even weather. Discipline, on the other hand, is structural. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you've chosen. Discipline is the internal architecture that supports real change. Psychologically, discipline is a practice of identity. Every time you do the hard thing, the consistent thing, the uncomfortable thing, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. You're not just building a habit, you're sculpting a self. And let's be honest, real transformation isn't dramatic, it's incremental. It lives in the quiet choices, the ones no one sees, the ones you make when it's inconvenient. Philosophically, discipline is integrity in motion. It means your actions align with your values, regardless of how tempted you are to abandon them. It asks, can you honor your future self more than you indulge your present urges? That's the work, not glamorous, not Instagrammable, but life faltering. You won't feel like doing it every day. That's the point. You do it anyway, because discipline is how you take your intention off the page and put it into your life. So if you want real change in 7 days, or in 70, don't ask yourself, do I feel like it today? Ask, what would the person I'm becoming do right now? Then do that. Day 4, your environment matters. Change doesn't thrive in toxic soil. Curate the spaces, people, and habits that nourish your growth. Once intention is set and discipline is in motion, the next critical layer is your environment, because no matter how strong your willpower is, you are not separate from your surroundings. Human behavior is not created in a vacuum. We are constantly influenced by the spaces we occupy, the people we engage with, and the inputs we absorb, often more than we realize. You can't plant seeds of growth and expect them to flourish in toxic soil. Psychologically, your environment acts as a set of cues. It tells your brain what's normal, what's possible, and what's expected. If your surroundings constantly reinforce self-doubt, distraction, or disconnection, then even the best intentions will begin to erode. And this goes beyond physical space, your digital space, your mental space. Even the tone of the conversations you tolerate all shape the landscape of your life. Philosophically, it's a matter of stewardship. Are you curating a life that supports your highest self, or are you just surviving in a space that keeps you small? It's a deep, honest question we all have to ask, because environment isn't just external. It reflects what we believe we deserve. So, begin to design your space with the same care you're using to design your mind. Create conditions that nurture your evolution, not sabotage it. If you want to change your life, change what surrounds your life. The spaces you live in physically, emotionally, relationally, will either expand you or confine you. Choose expansion. Day 5, embrace discomfort as growth. Growth is uncomfortable, but pain is often the price of progress. Lean into the stretch. And here's the part no one wants to hear. But it's the part that matters most. Change, real lasting change, will be uncomfortable. It has to be, because to become something new, you have to let go of what's familiar, even when that familiarity is keeping you stuck. Growth requires tension. Psychologically, this is known as cognitive dissonance, that mental friction when your old beliefs and new behaviors collide. That discomfort, it's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're stretching. We've been conditioned to believe that if it's hard, we must be doing it wrong. But in truth, discomfort is evidence of evolution. It's the body's way of saying something is shifting. And here's where the philosophical depth really comes in, because suffering without purpose is misery, but discomfort in the service of growth is sacred. It means you're rewriting a story. It means you're not settling. It means you're willing to become someone your old self wouldn't recognize. The mistake most people make is interpreting discomfort as a stop sign. It's not. It's an invitation. An invitation to lean in rather than retreat, to stay with the tension long enough to let it teach you something. So if it feels hard right now, good. That means the old shell is cracking. That means the next version of you is trying to break through. Don't run from the stretch. Breathe through it. Walk into it. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens just beyond it. Day 6 and 7. Reflect, reinforce, repeat. Real change is reinforced daily. Reflection builds momentum. What you water grows. And once you've moved through the discomfort, once you've awakened, declared, committed, curated, and stretched, what comes next is perhaps the most overlooked yet essential part of transformation. Reinforcement through reflection, because change that is not reflected on is change that doesn't root. It stays surface level, temporary, easy to reverse. Psychologically, reflection consolidates learning. It moves experience from raw data into integrated wisdom. It's the moment your brain makes meaning from everything you've just pushed through. And without this pause, this conscious processing, you're likely to repeat the same cycles, just in different forms, under new disguises. Philosophically, reflection honors the journey. It's not passive, it's active awareness. It asks, what shifted in me? What did I learn not just about the world, but about myself? How am I showing up now that I wasn't 7 days ago? And this reflection must be paired with reinforcement, because anything not repeated is eventually forgotten. You reinforce who you are becoming through small, consistent action, through rituals, through repetition with intention. This is how change becomes character. This is how a 7-day shift becomes a lifelong trajectory, not because you did something once, but because you chose each day to embody it again. So reflect, reinforce, then repeat. Transformation doesn't end on day 7, it begins there. And if you honor the process with presence and patience, what you start in a week can echo through your entire life. The future doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for persistence. Keep becoming.